My apartment was a disaster. Not just messy, it was a geological site. There were strata of pizza boxes, a fossilized slice of cake that might have belonged to the late Cretaceous period, and a society of dust bunnies that was on the verge of discovering fire. I wasn't just lazy, I was a connoisseur of chaos. But even a master gets tired of his art. I wanted a clean room, a perfect room, a room so orderly it would make a Swiss watchmaker weep with envy. And since I'm a genius, which again is just another word for apocalypse-grade idiot, I didn't buy a normal vacuum cleaner. I built the De-Entropizer 5000. It was my masterpiece. It didn't just suck up dust, it sucked up disorder. It was a handheld entropy reversal device. You'd point it at a messy pile of books, and they would instantly leap onto the shelf, perfectly arranged in alphabetical order. You'd aim it at a crumpled shirt, and it would uncrease itself and fold into a perfect square. My coffee, once cooled, would spontaneously reheat itself to the ideal drinking temperature. It didn't clean, it convinced molecules to get their act together. For a week, I was living in a sterile, minimalist paradise. My apartment wasn't just clean, it was perfect. Too perfect, but I was happy. I was so proud of my victory over the fundamental laziness of the universe. Of course, our friend the stickman physicist showed up to ruin the party. He looked at my perfectly ordered apartment, not with awe, but with abject terror. He started ranting about the second law of thermodynamics. "Entropy can't be destroyed, you magnificent moron," he screamed. "It has to go somewhere. Where is it all going?" I showed him. I had been clever. The De-Entropizer didn't delete the chaos, that would be impossible. It just moved it. It compressed all the disorder, all the maybes, all the random quantum fluctuations it collected, and shunted them into a tiny, self-contained pocket dimension. A cosmic trash compactor about the size of a closet hidden between the atoms of my bedroom wall. I called it my chaos room. Out of sight, out of mind. What's the worst that could happen? The pop was not loud. It was a tiny, quiet, almost polite sound. The sound of a champagne cork being opened a million miles away. It was the sound of a rule breaking. My cosmic trash compactor was full. The chaos room had just burst. At first, I didn't notice anything. My room was still perfect. But then I tried to flip a coin to decide what to have for dinner. It landed on its edge, and it stayed there, perfectly balanced. I stared at it for a full minute before I felt the first cold tendril of fear. Then my cat, Schrodinger, walked into the room. I looked at him. He was sleeping. I blinked. He was now wide awake, cleaning his paw. I blinked again. Sleeping, awake. He was both. My cat was now in a permanent macro-scale state of quantum superposition. He was a fuzzy, purring probability storm. He seemed fine with it. I was not. The laws of reality in my apartment had stopped being laws. They were now suggestions, and they were open to interpretation. My coffee was now both scalding hot and frozen solid at the same time. The light from my lamp sometimes decided to arrive before I'd even flipped the switch. My toast didn't land butter side down, it landed on its edge, perfectly balanced just like the coin. I had not created a leak, I had created a zone. A localized, expanding bubble of pure, weaponized chaos where the laws of probability had gone on a drunken bender. I was living in a slapstick nightmare written by a quantum physicist on acid. I tried to run out of the apartment, but the front door was now, according to a hastily scribbled sign that appeared out of nowhere, simultaneously a door and a very angry badger, so I decided to stay in. The zone was expanding. I could see it outside my window. A probability storm was engulfing the city. Rain was falling, but it was also not rain. Cars were both on the road and, for brief, terrifying moments, inside each other, passing through one another like ghosts before becoming solid again with catastrophic results. The world wasn't ending in fire or ice. It was ending in a storm of maybes. The horror wasn't the chaos itself. It was the loss of consequence. If every outcome is possible, then no choice matters. If a glass can both shatter and not shatter, then the act of dropping it has no meaning. My quest for perfect order had created the ultimate, most meaningless chaos. I had to fix it. My first idiotic idea was to fight chaos with order. I grabbed the De-Entropizer 5000 and aimed it at the heart of the zone, the shimmering wall of maybe where my closet used to be. I cranked it to maximum power. The machine whirred, glowed, and then exploded in my hands, turning into a flock of very surprised, very solid, and now very real doves. The universe, it seemed, had a sense of humor. The stickman physicist, who had been communicating with me via frantic notes tied to rocks, the only form of communication that seemed to reliably exist, had one last piece of advice. You can't unbreak an egg. The arrow of time only moves one way. The chaos must be contained, not erased. He was right. I couldn't destroy the chaos. The zone was now a permanent, self-sustaining cancer on the body of space-time. But if I couldn't destroy it, maybe I could move it. I had one last, desperate, monumentally stupid idea. The De-Entropizer shunted chaos away from me. What if I reversed the polarity? What if I created a device that pulled all the chaos towards me? I would become a chaos magnet, a singularity of pure, unadulterated probability. I could suck the entire zone, the entire storm of maybes into myself, saving the world at the cost of my own sanity. I built it, a mess of wires and hope. I stood in the middle of my perfectly ordered living room, the eye of the hurricane, and I flipped the switch. The feeling was indescribable. It was like being everywhere and nowhere. It was a billion contradictory lives lived in a single nanosecond. I saw myself succeed and fail. I saw myself born and saw myself die. I saw myself as a hero and a villain, a king and a fool. The entire infinite chaotic potential of the universe flooded into my consciousness. And then, silence. The storm was gone. The world outside my window was solid again. My cat, Schrödinger, was just sleeping, definitely sleeping. The coin had fallen on tails. The laws of physics were back in charge. I had done it. I had become the container. I was now a walking, talking, stable pocket dimension for the chaos I created. I saved the world. There's only one side effect. For me, the zone never ended. My own personal reality is now a permanent quantum funhouse. My coffee is still both hot and cold. My reflection waves back a second before I do. And my toast always lands on its edge. It's a small price to pay, I guess. I'm not a hero. I'm just a statistical anomaly, a glitch, a man who stared into the abyss of pure chaos, and the abyss just shrugged and moved in. It's not so bad. At least, I think it's not. Probably.